Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I don't think that this little prediction that I made a while ago is a genius prediction, but it is a prediction that obviously came true. Why? Because it's the normal course of events. What happens? I told you a few times that more rockets, missiles and drones will go towards Moscow, and they will at one point swarm Moscow's air defense, and some of them will be able to destroy, I would say, civilian infrastructure and kill civilians, which is a no-no. But it seems like these guys close an eye on that when is they or them doing it, but when the other guys are doing it, we call it as it is, war crime and whatnot. So what happened? We have here the spokesperson of the Ukraine military, isn't he? Air Forces, Ukraine Air Forces spokesperson, comes out and says, well, my dear Russians, wait for it. All this will increase. The attacks on Moscow and on your beautiful towns will increase. So now you know how it is to, be killed. It seems like. And that's obviously immoral, because if you don't like something to be done onto you, you don't do it to the other side. And regarding civilians, if you cry for good reasons that the enemy kills your civilians and you say that's not right, you don't do it. Otherwise, you endorse your enemy's actions. So if the enemy's troops start raping your women, you're not going to do the same thing with your troops, are you? Well, if you do the same thing, that means you are the same. All right, so let's look at this little article coming from Ukrinform. It's from today, the 26th of August, 2023. Ukraine's Air Force spokesperson on drone attacks on Moscow. This is just the beginning. What did I tell you, my friends? As I said, not a genius conclusion anyway, but you have to look at the issue the way it is, pick all the information. You like it or not. Drone attacks on Moscow are a consequence of Russian armed aggression, and such incidents will happen more and more often. So, drone attacks are a consequence of Russia's armed aggression. So, let me figure this out. So, if you attack my house, can I do something of a war crime? Is that a justification? Remember, self-defense does not justify war crimes. You don't have a blank check. Hey, I was attacked. Now I can do what the fuck ever I want. You can't do that. You should be still held to the, standards of the international law. Imagine someone comes and, comes on your property. And because it's an aggression, you go and eliminate all his family with a hammer. All right, and nails, just to make it, gross and all that. Or you take something else, chainsaw or something. Huh? Is that justified? Before you do that, you give them some loving, if you know what I mean. Would you do that? It's still a crime. Why? Because it's in self-defense. You can't use that argument. The same, if you were abused in your life, the laws still apply to you. So let's say someone, God forbid, abused you as a child or, in your life in certain ways, physically, mentally, sexually, and what else. It doesn't mean that when you go, you're not going to stay in line because you were abused. You don't have a special treatment for that. The laws still apply, The world still, goes around with or without you or us. So let's see what are the dumb justifications these guys are bringing. Remember, under the self-defense, other country that I remember very well, and you know it very well, does the same thing. Attacks other countries and hits other targets in other countries, the same pretense. Self-defense. Well, no, the laws should still apply to you as well. But if your dad is the judge, you can do what the fuck ever you want. Right? Scabies. All right. Let's see what's going on here. The relevant statement was made by spokesperson for the Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Yuri Ikhnat. during a nationwide telethon, a Ukrainian correspondent reports. Now, if this guy, for instance, remember, if this guy says this, and the Ukrainian population hears this, a lot of people don't think in terms of wait a second, who's this weasel? Let me use my brain. Hey, no, we can't do that. What are you talking about? You know, most people don't think, wait a second. They think like this. He's in our team. Those are the enemies. We can do whatever we want. I don't care. Well, that is with pathos, not with logos. Because if we do the same thing, it will turn us into the same monster we claim our enemy is. So he is doing this. People listen to it, and they will endorse it. Why? Because this Ignat has a governmental position. He has an authority. He's an authority figure, and he is the government when he says this kind of thing. So if he says that and nobody challenges him online or whatever he's over there on live on TV or whatever that telethon was, then what do you think the Ukrainians will do? Will justify it. Will think, yes, there's justified. Ignat said it. Yeah, if they attack us. If they listen to me and they curse me and all that, maybe in 20 years we're going to realize, yeah, that idiot said something. Yeah, and not, think for yourselves. Unless you don't care being called a war criminal. And be the same. If I commit a crime and you commit a crime, it is the same crime. We should be called the same way. And I'm quoting this Ignat. Russia has got what it was supposed to get. Air raid alerts too. No, it gets terror. What is the definition of terrorism? I played that before. For you, I gave you the definition. Of course, this is just the beginning. I believe the defense forces will have more means to make things more and more anxious. That's a beautiful euphemism for terror. And dangerous in Russia, and make them go through what our citizens are facing. Remember? So I'm going to pay you back. What? Attacking your thing. Anyway. In his words, Russian invaders must pay a high price for aggression. You can't justify, as I said, with self-defense, you can't justify crimes. And I'm quoting, but without weapons, without their reaction to what they are doing, of course, we cannot do. So Russia will experience such attacks more and more often, if not noted. A reminder that Moscow Mayor Sobyanin earlier complained of a new drone attack on Russia's capital, which took place on the night of August 26, 2023. So, I understand the frustration of the Ukrainian nation, and I think this war between NATO and Russia should not have started ever, and especially not on the territory of Ukraine using the Ukrainian blood whatsoever. Everything should have been solved based on the Minsk Agreements 1 and 2, but that was not something that those guys wanted. So now you can cry how much you want, unless you get rid of your guys in charge of your destiny, Ukraine, which I'm talking about 4 Little Pigs and others that supposedly are your leaders of others. Then you're gonna have this, and you're gonna have this instigator of terrorizing another country's population because those guys are doing this to you. I don't like you raping my family, but I'm gonna do the same thing because you do it to me. That means you're the same as that guy, aren't you? No, because I'm defending myself. These guys are just missing somewhere. Here is 2 things that do not connect. That if you do the same thing, you're called the same. It doesn't really matter. Well, sometimes, it matters the context. It's true. But still, there are certain things that you don't do, beyond which you're called a certain way. Like, for instance, if someone physically attacks me and wants to kick my butt, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to fuck him up, if I can. Okay? And if I can, I'm going to do that. I'm going to immobilize, I'm going to knock him out if I can. But I'm not, after I do that, I'm not going to get, a knife and I'm going to cut his tip of the fingers. I'm going to get a plier, get his teeth out, his nails out. I'm not going to, cut his balls off. I'm not going to gouge one eye so he can still have one. I'm going to cut his nose or ears. I'm not going to do that. That goes into something else, doesn't it? Correct. So if I do that after he attacked me, do you think I'm not going to be charged with anything and convicted? Of course I will be. I can't just justify, well, I was in self-defense. No, you were, but then you weren't. Your actions went beyond self-defense. Why didn't you stop after you knocked him out? After you, let's say, immobilized him, physically immobilized him? Why didn't you stop right there? Why did you go on? That go on is exactly what these guys want to do and are doing, and are claiming the Russians are doing, which is bad, but isn't it bad what you do? Anyway, so that's where they don't connect in their brains. And I understand pathos goes above logos sometimes. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.